Baba talks about devilish intellect and divine intellect. And Baba says, in Kali Yuga, souls have devilish intellect, and in Satyug, souls have divine intellect. And I was just thinking about this, and you see, the intellect is the one who perceives. Yes, the soul perceives through the intellect. And when the intellect is devilish, it means that so when the soul is vicious, when there are 5 vices in the soul, then the intellect is devilish. And when there are 5 vices in the soul, then the intellect that is perceiving everything around, in the world. So when, let's say, I am a soul who is full of 5 vices, and then I perceive everything in and around my world, then my intellect will always give me a logic to be lustful, angry, greedy, attached, and egoistic. So, the intellect will give you a logic to which will allow these 5 vices to come into action. That's a devilish intellect. Let's understand this properly. So let's take lust. So you know that so there is, your intellect tells you, you are allowed to attack this one with lust, and you're not allowed to attack this one with lust, is it not? If lust is something which is, without use of the intellect, it is unregulated, if it is so, then you would attack everybody with lust. But it is not like that. Yes, some places your intellect tells you, you can just play with your sanskar of lust here, and some places it tells you not to. And there is a logic which the intellect gives. Now let's say, you go to a temple and there is a beautiful deity there. Yes, there's an image of a beautiful deity. Then your intellect will tell you that, you have to be respectful to this deity. It will not tell you that this is beautiful and attractive, so you can have a lustful eye. So it is your intellect that is giving you a logic everywhere. And when the intellect is full of, when the soul is full of lust, then the intellect can give you many strange logics. Yes, so these days, the lines are blurring as the vices in the souls increase. The lines which the intellect is drawing about places where you can be lustful and not lustful, those lines are blurring. Yes, because that's the sign of a vicious soul. Now, I was just thinking about this lust, and when there was this Nirbhaya case, when that girl was molested, and later on the predator was asked, why he attacked the girl. So what he said? He said that the way she was talking and behaving with her friend, he did not like it. So he decided to molest her. So he found something wrong about the way she was interacting with a friend. So he molested her. He decided that molesting was okay. So this is the logic of lust. If the soul is full of lust, it can come up with this kind of a strange logic also. So because you don't like somebody talking to somebody or somebody behaving with somebody, so you can just molest that person. Or these days there are crimes which happen which are related to acts of molestation, and then you ask the person and they would say that I made advancements to this person, I proposed this person, or I expressed my interest in this person and they rejected me, so I decided to molest them. Yes, so this is the strange logic that lust can give you. And if you can look into the mind of that person, they think they are not wrong. So, this is the logic of lust. And then people will just go to any lengths, and in the world, domestic violence and domestic physical abuse is a very big phenomena, because when you get married to someone, you think that you have ownership over that person's body and you can be as harsh, as as devilish as you want to be, and that's okay. And that's the logic of lust. So lust will tell you that you got married to somebody, so it's like you've bought somebody's body, and then you can do anything with that body, and you don't care about the soul sitting in the body and you just go on doing whatever you feel like doing. So, and you think that's your right, and that's right. Yes, so that's, and then the whole world will also come together to train you to believing that this is right. Yes, and there was this Mata and who told me that my husband was very violent, physically very violent, and when I told my parents and my brother, when I went to my family and I told them that my husband is very abusive, then they said that husbands are like that and you have to tolerate, and that is allowed. So this is so it's not just a part of our sanskar, but it also becomes part of the culture, because there are two words, sanskar and sanskriti. So whatever is in the sanskars of everybody also becomes a part of the culture, and it is reinforced through culture. And then purity will be made to look boring, and maybe somebody is not worthy, that's why they are pure or something like that. And then being an object of lust is very attractive. So this is also a kind of logic that Ravan has fed into us, that if you are an object of somebody's lust, then that means you're attractive and you are worthy and you're beautiful and this and that. So all of this is devilish intellect. And at this time the devilish intellect is giving us so many logics that every soul thinks, and when the logic is given, a logic is given in court, and what happens is that what is false can be proved as true by logic. And this is what Maya does. Maya just gives us so many logic and so many faulty logics that lust looks like the most important thing, most desirable thing, most proper thing. So this is something. So this is the logic of lust. Then you see that the logic of anger. So you see that the first thing is, and then the logic of lust, the main logic I forgot. The main logic is lust is a biological need. So the main logic that Maya gives you is lust is a biological need. It is needed by the body. And so, there was this one person and he told me that I got married, I got divorced, and now I have to get remarried. So I said, why is that have to? So he said, you see, you cannot survive without marriage, and there are physical needs, and then you have to get married. So I said, why you can't breathe properly if you are not married, or you can't work properly, or what is the problem? Where does it cause you trouble? So he said, no, you can't, it's a physical need. So I said, what is a need? Food, water, fresh air, that's called a need. This is not a need. If this was a need, then you would die without it. Would you die without lust? Nobody died without lust. We are not dying without lust. So why do you think that this is a need? And what is a need? Need is something you will die without. So nobody died of lack of lust. So, but this is also a very strange logic that Maya feeds into our intellect, and then you always think that lust is very important, and if there is no lust in your life, then probably you are there is something that you are depriving yourself of. So it's like something that you are not giving to your body, you're depriving yourself of. So that's also a strange logic of lust. And with these logics, we are pretty convinced by Maya that lust is important, necessary, and it is something without which you can die also. And then when you have a logic of lust, you have a right to molest anyone, anywhere. And you are right about it. Yes, so if you feel attracted towards somebody, there is no need to seek permission also. So these are the logics of lust. And then there is Hollywood and Bollywood, which is training us into it, and then there is society which is reinforcing it, and then it has become very bad. That is why this is called Ravan Rajya, because here everything is dictated by Ravan. So this is the logic of lust. And when we come to Baba, Baba tells us that purity is your original nature, and there is no need to engage in any act of impurity. The soul doesn't need to engage in any act of impurity. It is absolute conditioning that you are living by. Yes, and you are never allowed to, as a soul, it is not necessary, it is not permissible, it is not desirable that one engages in lust. So this is something that Baba tells us, and then we think, because we have, for 63 births, we have just been trained into this logic of lust, and then suddenly Baba comes and tells us, purity is your original nature, and we think, how, and if it is so, why didn't we discover it until now? But you cannot discover it on your own, because Maya has created this huge shadow around you. And then there is the logic of anger. So, when there is anger, so what is anger? So, the logic of anger is, you will always find a reason to scream, shout, be rude, be insulting, be impolite to anyone around you. this logic of anger will tell you that if you're screaming, shouting, abusing, whether physically or whether verbally, you are scolding somebody, you are shouting at somebody, you're being rude to somebody, then there is a reason why you're doing it. And what is the reason? The reason is anger. That's the logic of anger. So anger will tell you that screaming, shouting, scolding is okay and necessary. And just like lust can create its logic, anger has so many logics that it creates, that, because this person did this, said this, didn't do this, didn't say this, didn't work according to me, so therefore I got angry, I got abusive, I got this and that and the other. But Baba tells us, you don't have any right to be angry, rude, abusive, or scold anybody, come what may. Yes, so what is your right to shout at anybody? Yes, you may make your choices, that's okay. You find it difficult to live with somebody, move out. If you can't, that's your problem, deal with it. Don't shout at the other person. Okay? So you have no reason. Baba tells us, peace is your nature. There is absolutely no reason why you can shout or scream or be rude or be abusive to anybody. It is your duty to talk and behave with love and respect. That is your duty. As a soul, you are not allowed to cross that line, come what may. And then, the logic of anger will tell you, but I tried my best. But they are like this. But they deserve this. And my father also did this. And my mother also did this. And what is wrong in beating up my own child? I gave birth to that child. I can beat them up. Or I married this person, so I can shout at them. So, and if somebody is wrong, why can't you shout at them? So these are the logics of Ravan, logic of anger. But Baba says, it is not the situation which is giving rise to anger. It is your anger which is looking for a reason. So, it is the anger in the soul because of which the buddhi finds a reason to shout. Yes, and when you're, and these sanskars, these vikars, these vices can just make you go blind. And in the beginning, I gave you that example of a person going to a temple and knowing the line between a deity and a female in flesh and blood. But slowly, when these vices take over, you will be blinded by them and you will not be able to see where you are getting angry, where you are letting your sanskar of lust go. And this is why we come across very bizarre cases these days, where it doesn't fit into the moralities of many that this act happened, but then the line of morality is also slipping every day, and people are crossing those lines of morality every day, because when the soul is overtaken by vice, then slowly the logic of the vice is so powerful that suddenly the logic of morality also doesn't work. And these days Sometimes, people will shout at the boss also. They are not afraid of losing the job also, because then they will say, you have to stand up for the right, and you have to stand up for this and that, and they will shout at the boss also. But the thing is, whether it's the boss, whether it's the junior, whether it is whosoever, why do you have to shout? You don't want to work in that environment, you leave. You can make a complaint. If you think that there is something wrong, you can make a complaint and you can let the authorities decide. And if you don't have any faith in the authorities, you change the job. Why do you have to shout? There is never a reason to shout. There is never a reason to shout, scream, jump up and down, be rude, scold. There is absolutely no reason to do that. And it is just your anger which is making you do that. But this logic of anger is so strong that it makes you get caught up in this strange programming of right and wrong, and then you will end up getting angry, and then you will say that I did it because the other person was wrong and I was right. So this is why this is the devilish intellect working. Yes, and then there is the logic of greed, and it is, so people will steal, people will they will resort to corrupt means, they will just manipulate the law, and then they will use any office of trust to their advantage. And that's what is driving them to do that. That's greed. And then they would say that, it's my necessity. And we have all heard that story of the dacoit Valmiki. So, when Valmiki ji was a dacoit and he was looting and stealing, and at that time when he met Narad in the story, then Narad ji asked him, why are you doing what you're doing? And he said, for my family. So he said, no, your family is not going to take responsibility of your act. And he said, no, they would. And then he was made to go and ask his family whether they would take responsibility. And then the family said, no, it is your job to feed us. You do it by stealing, that's the choice you're making. You're not doing it for us. And the logic of greed is always like that. We need it, the family needs it, the circumstances are such, the situation is such. But it is your greed that makes you steal, be corrupt, go against laws, use any office to your advantage. It is your greed driving you. And then there is another logic which people give you these days. If you are not corrupt, then somebody else will be. And they will make profit. So why not you? Anyways, the system won't be changed. It's not about the system, it's about your karma and your sanskar. It is not about the system. Yes, so this is another big logic. And I remember, there was this, when I was in office, there was this one colleague of mine, and he was handling, he was on a seat where there was a lot of corruption and lot of, bribe money coming. So he told me that he once came and he told me that somebody offered me 20,000 today, but I refused. So I said, why? Because you're very honest. So he said, no. So then I said, why? So he said, that's not my rate. So I wouldn't get sold for 20,000. So I said, okay, what is your price? How much money will you take to be sold? So I said 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs if somebody offers, I will do that. I will engage in corruption. So I said, if you have, I told him, you see, you have released into the world this wish or desire that, give me 2 lakhs and I will sell my integrity. So you will find a buyer, because if you have a price, you will be bought. That's the law. And everybody sets their own price. And it depends on the level of greed. It doesn't depend on demand and supply. So this price doesn't depend on demand and supply. This price depends on your level of greed. And when you set your price, you will always have a buyer and you will be bought. So Baba says that this greed, it's, of course, greed is, like Baba says, all 5 vices. These days, every soul is infested with these 5 vices. So every soul has greed and lust and anger and attachment and ego. But the thing is, the more your level of greed, the lower your price. And then some people are not setting the bar very low, so they will be bought at a bigger price. But then that's what greed is doing. And it's not about the circumstances or needs, or you are always camouflaging greed in the name of need. So I need this, or this is important, or no, nobody. So you will, even if you lead an honest life, you will always have enough. Because Baba is, today also Baba says that if you have an honest heart, then Baba will always help those children. So Baba comes to the rescue of those who are honest. So it will never happen that you will be, you will, but honest heart is not just about not being greedy, but it's also about, having purity of thought, word, action, everything. Because sometimes, people are not greedy, they are not engaging in financial corruption, but they are corrupting their mind with negativity a lot. So you will be punished for that also. So if you have purity of mind, body, wealth, if you have purity of thought, word, action, then Baba will help you. You will never sleep hungry. But Baba says all the other things that you do are dictated by greed, and Maya tells you that this is necessary, this is a need, this is important. And then there was this one person who said that if I wouldn't be corrupt, then I would be killed. But I was in that same situation. I knew that he wouldn't be killed. He just thought he would be killed if he did not, because he was threatened. But it was nothing of that kind. But he gave in, because it is fear plus greed. Sometimes you don't recognize the greed. You say it is the fear that made you do it, but no, it's the greed also. Because if it was just the fear, then why didn't you throw away that money that you got? Or why didn't you donate it? Or why didn't you do something else out of it? But, or even, even if you're not donating it, why didn't you use it for a good purpose? You could have done something out of it. But you didn't do anything. You used it for your own sensual pleasures. So it was greed also dictating it. And if really somebody threatened you at gunpoint to engage in corruption, then you could have used that money for welfare later on. But you didn't do that. So all that is greed. And then there is this voice of attachment which will tell you that, somebody can hurt you, and somebody can be responsible for your heartache, and somebody can make you feel abandoned and lonely and disrespected and all of that. That is all the voice of attachment speaking. And Baba says, no, every soul has self-honor, and happiness and joy is your choice, your natural state. Why does somebody behaving with you in some way? And there is this one sister, and she always tells me that, Didi, I always feel that if my husband leaves me, I will die. And I'm always thinking about, if he gets angry and leaves me, then I will die. So I said, but you're already dead. You don't have a life of your own. He is all day, taking advantage of that fear of yours. And you don't have any dignity. You don't have any life anyway. So what are you afraid of? Dying? You're already dead. So this is the life we are leading, and attachment will tell you that, even if the person is, and you don't even look at the person, whether they have something to offer or not. People are attached to such morons, and you think that you will die because of them. So why do you think that this person can make your life worthy or not worthy, and why do you give so much power to a person? But that's the voice of attachment, and attachment has this strange programming. It makes the soul, so weak. The buddhi is what do you say, so cheated, that you think that any person can make you feel miserable and abandoned and lonely, and maybe they can also make you die. So, and that's your own programming which will ultimately make you die. So that's the voice of attachment. And then the logic of ego. The logic of ego is that other people can put you down, they can make you feel insulted, they can make you feel unworthy, they can give you honor, they can take away your own honor. Yes, they can make you worthy, they can take away your worth. But the thing is, nobody can make you worthy. Your own karma will make you worthy. Nobody can take away your worth. Because whatever you did, you will get. So all this, this ego, or someone or something, so a label or a title or my property or the size of my house or the size of my bank balance can decide how worthy or valuable I am. This is a programming of ego. Yes, and then ego makes you run after people and money and possessions, and it makes you beg for respect and admiration and appreciation. So this is what ego is doing. And Baba says that is devilish intellect which pulls you into lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. And then there are other vices also, like jealousy and fear and laziness. And laziness will tell you that if you get up and work, maybe your body will decay or something. Yes, and maybe you will get tired, or maybe you will just fall off, or maybe you will faint or something. But nobody died of work. Have you seen anybody die of work? Nobody died of work. But somehow, laziness will tell you that, and you will be convinced about that. And jealousy will tell you it is okay to criticize somebody and it is okay to defame somebody. Acts of defamation, acts of criticism, acts of bad-mouthing somebody, they are coming from a place of jealousy. And whenever you are bad-mouthing somebody, know that it is jealousy which is making you do that. But what do? You think that, maybe you have some extra knowledge about this person which other people don't have, and you are sharing that knowledge with other people to benefit them. This is the strange logic you give when you are under the sway of jealousy. And jealousy will tell you that, you are not doing it in your selfish interest. You are doing it for the benefit of society, that you're criticizing this person and making everybody aware of their shortcomings, and you are warning other people because they can be hurt by this person. But actually, it's not like that. You are bad mouthing somebody, criticizing somebody, you are defaming somebody because you are jealous. And because the world doesn't know this, so they fall for every propaganda. And Baba says there is no reason why you should, steal or be afraid to lose. So Baba says there is no reason for you to be afraid of loss, which attachment makes you think. Nobody can insult you, which ego makes you think. Nobody can diminish your value. And Baba says that you don't have the right to defame anybody. This is what Baba tells us in the Murli. Don't badmouth anybody. And these are the directions of Shiv Baba that we get at this time. And when we understand these, then we go to the divine world, where we have divine intellects, where there is no reason. So, when we are deities, it's not because we have everything that we don't steal. It's because we don't have greed. It's because we don't have jealousy. It's because we don't have these 5 vices. That's why we don't engage in these acts there. Whereas, in Satyug also there'll be variety. One person will be different from the other. One soul's sanskars will be different from the other. Will it not be? Yes, everybody's sanskars would be different. Everybody's status would be different. But we will not have the reason to steal and insult and defame and, attack somebody with lust and violence, because we will not have vices there. So it is the devilish intellect which makes you do what you do. And Baba says, identify that whatever you are doing against Shrimad, I have given you very clear instructions about what as a soul you are allowed to do, what as a soul you are not allowed to do. But still, if you cross the line, it is just because these vices are making you do that. Identify the vices, and then what is the method to conquer vices? So Baba says, don't look at the vicious world, because when you keep having your intellect's yoga with the vicious world, then the vicious world will always keep assuring you that whatever you're doing is the right and okay thing to do, because everybody is doing that. But have your intellect's yoga with Baba and see that Baba never does this, so why should I? And only then can you overcome these acts of, vicious acts based on these 5 vices and jealousy and laziness and this and that. You look at Baba at the age of, 60, Brahma Baba entered. Until the last day, last breath, Baba did everything. So why can't you? Why does age restrict you? So Baba says, look at Brahma Baba, look at Shiv Baba, and then you will be able to overcome these vices, and you will be able to see that purity, peace, love, perseverance, effort, these are very natural. You can do them lifelong at all times of the day. Okay, Om Shanti.